Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Josie Wrestling Island episode 2 here with Dan and Tristan. Tristan has finally made it. Hopefully, his Discord does not have any issues because it just was having issues for us. We're going to be talking about all the Stardom shows this past weekend, same with Maori Gold. And at the end, we're going to talk about who we think is potentially going to jump ship next year to either promotion or the US. But I want to check in on everyone. How you guys doing? You guys doing good? How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing well.
How are you doing, Tristan?
Doing fine.
Yeah,
What
there we
about
go. Look
you,
at
Matthew? Matthew?
that. I am in Florida right now. My friends are currently watching the Alabama-Tennessee game downstairs, and I was like, it was halftime, so I figured I'd come up here and get this all set up, and we can record an episode real quick.
Roll Tide.
Mm, I'd rather Tennessee win, to be honest, but
I don't really care.
all right, look, we're gonna start with the Stardom October 11th show. The first
Uh,
match we had Mayu and Momo versus Waka and Hanako, and Hanako and Waka actually won this match. I was a little bit surprised. Anything with Mayu in it, I just fully expect her to win any match, even if it's a tag match. Um, Momo took the pin in this one, and I thought there was a little funny scene because Waka stole Mayu's tail from her attire and was hitting her with
so
it.
it's something when the tail comes off. It's always a thing.
I didn't really have anything to write for this match. Like I watched it, and I only have two things written down. I have how dare Waka take Mayu's tail, and Momo took the pin. That's literally all I had down for this match. I really wasn't anything interesting to say about it. It was a fine match. Mayu's in it. It's gonna be okay no matter what. To be honest, did you see that match, Tristan?
Yeah, I find a lot of like matches with Waycott are just kind of like they're just there because she's more of a comedy character, so it is just there half the time. Like the whole thing is stealing the tail, but like there's not gonna be like crazy in-ring action with those characters. Like Mayu's the best, but when it's Waka and everything, it's more not gonna be anything to write home about.
Yeah, that's true. The next match we have Hanan versus what the frig did I write here? Ryuka, someone from
Uh,
Hate.
It was Ruaka and Rion.
Yeah, Ruaka versus Ryan. Um, the match started off very slow. It was a very slow start to the match. Um, and then towards the end, like the last 5 minutes, it really picked up and like everyone started getting a lot of offense in. Um, I don't know if this is a match Hanan got hurt in. I think she might have got hurt in like the next day's match because I didn't see anywhere where she could have gotten hurt. But I do love her finisher. She is a great finisher.
Because she had the Hanan, I think, had the tag team match the next day. Well, I mean, that's not saying anything, but I think she was involved in the match the next day, so I think it was the next day that she got injured.
Honestly, I will say this, Ron, however you say her name, I'm gonna mess it up several times. Uh, I know she's young, but she looks even younger than she is. Like she looks like a child, like compared to everyone else. But
Well,
her
it
move.
was reported on the 13th that there was the injury. So her and Xena's injury were
Okay,
reported on the 13th. So
I
this
will say,
show was 12th, right? So no, it was 11th. So yeah, it
yeah,
could have
it's
been
left.
next night still too. Yeah.
Um, I will say though, for her being a rookie, her match set has improved significantly. Her move set, I should say, not match set. So it's good to see her improving. I think she does have a bright future, but I don't know if that's going to be with EXV. Who knows how long they'll be all together, to be honest. The next match we had God's Eye versus Hate, another Hate match. Lovely. Um, the one thing I wrote down, the first thing I wrote down was how much longer are they going to drag this out with God's Eye and Hate? Because it just feels like it's just being drawn out.
Till the end of time.
I
Well, I
wrote
mean,
typical hate match start where they just throw everyone outside the ring and fight outside. Typical.
so to be specific, this is Momo, Tora, and Saya Kamatani versus Lady C, Rana, and Shuri. So,
Yeah. Hate wins. I didn't really have anything written down for this. It was literally whenever it comes to hate matches, I kind of just like turn my brain off, not really pay attention much. Um,
Especially now when they're missing one of their key members. Because like when you're missing Thekla, like the best gaijin right now for Stardom, kind of removes some of the interest when it's just the same characters over and over, and it's not really hate is not a good group.
and not just that, it's like I feel like Okada completely ruined the momentum they actually had going. Like you had Saya doing great things as a heel, and then I think she should have won the 5 star, to be honest. And then it should have been Tora versus Saya, which would have been a much more interesting storyline than whatever the fuck they got
That
going on now.
that Tora reign is still just one of the most questionable decisions.
I mean, Tamu Hogan, you know. The next match, I didn't write down the members part of it, but I did like write a
I
lot
got
of
it.
the people in the match. Is EXV versus Stars.
So Maika, Mina, and Xena versus Hazuki, Koguma, and Saya Ida.
I put Hazuki is no depresso anymore, which I feel like they should have dragged this storyline out a little bit more. I feel like they should have dragged it out a little bit more, where you thought maybe she would be going heel or joining Hate. Just
Nope, she
to,
just beat up SLK and she's fine now.
yeah, to just beat the crap out of SLK, took her mask off, and now she's fine. I don't like that. I felt like it should have gone on a little bit longer. Um, there was one funny part where Koguma failed a kip up, and it was just like the way she tried doing it was the same way I probably would have looked like. I would have just like been a flail as a fish, just flailing around there. It was hilarious. I thought it was funny.
You gotta explode, Bobby. Explode.
Micah and Ida had a very good showing of strength in this part. They were both outside the ring for at least like a few minutes, where Micah and Ida were both holding up Hazuki and Mina for like at least a few minutes while they waited for Xena and Koguma to fight interaction.
I find that's one like the Micah's like her best quality rather than being Utami 2.0 as we always joke about because it's like when you actually show character like that, it's a lot better than her entrance and her look where it definitely has changed a lot under Okada where it is Otami 2.0. Just I prefer when she shows like the feat of strength and like stuff that's like her own thing.
See, the issue is Utami is also really strong too, so it's like
Yeah, but it's like the different quality of strength. Like
that's
well,
true. I did like Xena and Micah's double team move. I thought it was really cool. It was a great move. I do like their it's when they have like both each have like a leg behind their neck and they're like swinging them back and forth until they flip them over. I really like that move. I thought that was a great tag team move. And no surprise, Mina gets the win for the team. She didn't really do much that match, I don't think. If I remember correctly, I don't think she did much.
I don't. With her constantly going back and forth to America in the middle of the week and then coming back for weekend shows,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's gonna
I'm
be gone
surprised she can
soon.
do much. I'm
Yeah.
surprised she can do much on shows.
Um,
Yeah. Well, even for like next week it's gonna be because she just was in. I think she's in London this weekend for Rev Pro, and then she's gonna go back, and then so like next weekend it's gonna just be the same thing where she's just traveling all around the world. Like she's probably gonna go to London, probably do something on Wednesday for AEW, then go back to Japan for next weekend.
yep. I personally think um, Tony Khan has bought out of her contract and is just letting her still do dates and Stardom. That's my opinion on it.
It could. It's just because the one thing I am in the same opinion, but she also is still doing stuff like they have like the celebrity dinner or like buffet lunch with Mina and stuff for the January show, which is like something that Stardom would do, but I don't know if AEW would necessarily like promote that as much. So it could just be her contract expires like January next year.
Yeah. And then the main event, we had Cosmic Angels versus Neo Genesis. It was Yuna, Saudi, and Poi. Yeah, I think that's it. They didn't. Tamu wasn't in it. I don't think.
Tam was in it,
Uh,
10 man.
Oh, was he in
Poise,
it?
Sori, Sayaka, and Tom, and Yuna. It's 5-on-5, yeah. Versus
Yeah.
SLK, Kevin, Maesera, AZM, and Suzu.
I didn't write a single thing down about whatever Tamu did in the match. To be honest, I didn't write a single thing down. Yuna, I think did a kip up. I wasn't expecting that at all. Didn't think she could do one, so that surprised me. Uh, I will say this, Saray. I'm not Saray. Sorry. Oh my God, I can't
Sori,
speak. Thank you.
Anui.
Uh, Her step up enziguri is very clean. It's a very clean step up enziguri. That's
She's
what.
like, I mean, I've been watching for a year and a half, and almost every match there's something new from her.
Yeah. She also has a Sayaka has a very good spear. Uh, she always does it and thinks she's gonna get the 3 count because she thinks she's Roman Reigns, but never happens. But I think it's a very good spear. I really like it, dude. Every time when Poi hits a super kick, I really feel like she just puts everything behind it every time because it just looks so fucking painful. It looks so painful. Um, May did a sick like reversal kick turnbuckle thing. Like she like ran towards the turnbuckle and like kicked up on the turnbuckle and then used her hands to do like like spring herself backwards. It was very interesting. I never saw it like done before. It was very interesting. I remember like watching it and being like, "Ooh, that was nice. It was clean." She also had a very good mid rope springboard missile drop kick off of the second rope. It was very
Mhm.
nice. The only thing I will say is May gets way too much air. I don't know how she does it for being like 5'2", but she gets a significant amount of air with her jumps, like just jumping off the mat. She has ups. And
Plus, she's a high-speed champion.
yeah, she's high speed. Doesn't mean she's does high jumps or anything. She's
Yeah, but goes hand in hand most of the time.
Gotta go
Look like Ray and
fast.
gotta
stuff.
go fast. And Yuna got the pin on Mai, which is setting up for their eventual high speed championship match.
Mm. I have an interesting stat on the page I'm looking at. It says that the average age of the wrestlers was 28 and a half years old.
Yeah, because isn't Yuna like early 30s?
I think she's 34, 35.
And Momo's like around my age. She's like 40 something, I think.
I think
Basically,
Or
she's,
no,
one
she's like
team
38.
is
I think she's
like,
like 38 or 39.
yeah,
and then
basically,
Tamu's
Cosmic
36.
Angels is like, I think Natsupoi is like the youngest at like 29. The rest are like 30. And then like Neo Genesis is like all the ones that are like 21, 22. So it's like
I
one
mean, I think this
team.
is the average age of the wrestlers on the entire card.
Oh, okay. I thought
Was
you, because
28
I
and
was
a
about to say
half.
that one match was like Cosmic Angels definitely boosts up some of the age.
Look at AZM, who's only 20 or 21.
Yeah, AZM May. I think I think all of them are basically 25 and under. I think Suzu's might be the oldest, and
That's
she's trying to think who's the oldest, but from Neo
Yeah,
Suzuki.
Genesis.
Suzuki is the oldest because it goes, I think it goes Suzu, and then SLK and Izumi are both 22.
So yeah,
Suzu's
SLK
22.
is the oldest, 23. I think she has,
Yeah.
And then I think
so all of
Kevin
them are.
is like, what, 19 or
But
something like
wasn't
that?
that the whole point of the team is that they're all like the same age?
Yeah,
They're all in the
it's
same
as I
ring.
said, it's Stardom Nexus, and
Do you
so
like it they have the temporary tattoos that they put on?
No, I don't. I don't like the
eh,
temporary tattoos. I think it's too distracting, to be honest.
Yeah. I
When I
do
first
wonder how
noticed it, I thought that was
long.
a real tattoo, and I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah,
that's like in Japan, tattoos are if you can see them, you better be in the yakuza."
yeah.
Yeah.
Like the face one, I was like, ooh, I don't think that looks good, Izumi. But that was the main event. I'm gonna be perfectly blunt with these weekend shows. I got bored through most of them.
A
Like
lot of them are.
I know for the 10-14 one, I literally wrote down the finish for all the matches because they did not intrigue me at all. I
Yeah,
do
the
have
only
a
like I will say that for me, the 10-14 did have the singles with Siri and Rion, which like I felt was not too bad. Like if they do more of those matches, but even that was just like kind of a mid match, and like the rest of the card for me, I just get really bored of like the 6-man, 10-man, like all the tag team actions, which is like what Stardom's known for, but it's been really noticeable under Okada, just like hate in every single tag team. So
And you say
it's
that
just
hate
very
one match that last show we just did.
so. It's just yeah, it just gets boring when it's like they try to set up stories and it's interesting, but it's just faction versus faction versus faction, and somehow hate is in like 90% of the matches, like one faction.
Unfortunately, there's only one heel faction.
So, and
You need to
it's
set up more
especially
than one
like
heel faction. You
knowing
can
for me, like we'll talk about it later, but like knowing like Neo Genesis, for example, for me, that's probably a faction that's going to be like maybe like 1 year old before it disbands because some of those girls are going to be gone next year. So it's just some of that stuff is knowing some of the names like Mina, as we talked about, like could already be gone, like bought out contracts. So it's just knowing some of the names are just like gone next year. It's just winding down. And it's like they kind of lose interest. The same thing happened with Julie at the end, where you can kind of just tell they check out at certain points.
All right, so we're going to. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sitting on a bed and I got a bad right knee. I can't really do much here, so I'm sorry for looking a little weird on the monitor here. So next one is the 10-12 Stardom Show. I missed the complete first match. I know Sari is in it. I don't know who she first. I missed the whole match. I was
Rana. It was
Huh?
Rana.
There you go. I was I for the most of the part when it comes to Stardom, I am at work watching. Same with Marigold, so I do apologize. That was the match. I didn't get to see it.
Well, I mean, Rana's still in her first year, so sorry wins. I mean,
All right, moving on. We got Cosmic Angels versus Neo Genesis. Looks like we got Yuna, May, Kevin, Azumi. I don't know who. I'm assuming Sayaka and
Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurara and Yuna was the
so I have in the beginning of the match, it showed Yuna and Mai started off doing a little high speed, running the ropes a little bit, doing a little cartwheels and flips. Well, I should say May doing flips, not Yuna. Uh, so still continuing on with that, and then there was a nice tag team move between Kevin and Azumi, aka Miyu. I really wish I wrote down what it was because I can't remember it fully right now. But I do remember that it was like, ooh, it's a good tag team move. I liked it.
yeah. Her and AZM have really stepped it up as a team. Like,
When they're a team, I will say Kevin had a very, to me, a bad showing this past weekend for the most part when it came to the wrestling. She was slow. She was botching a little bit. I didn't like it that much. Well, I didn't like most of her matches that much, to be honest. I thought she was a bit slow in most of them, and like the rest of the team was picking it up. But normally, she's usually fantastic. There just seemed to be something off with her this past weekend. Izumi had a great show of strength. With she went to go suplex Yuna, and it looked like they mistimed it, and Izumi was still able to fully like just deadlift her up into a suplex, and I thought that was impressive.
That's because she's 21 and has 10 years of experience.
Yeah, I even wrote it on this one. I said Kevin has just been off timing wise throughout the whole match when it came to double and triple team moves for the most part. I have May picks up the win with multiple roll ups when she just kept going over and over again. How do you guys feel about that, by the way?
Not the biggest fan of May's roll up. Like I just feel like, her doing her signature drop kick, that's the best finish.
You can shut the fuck up.
The constant roll ups is just, it gets tiring after a
Better
while.
finish in like 7 months.
Yeah, I need to go back to it. It's the greatest finisher of all time.
Tristan,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna need you to do me a favor and shut the fuck up.
the pin combos are like one of the signatures of high speed. So, um,
The next match is Hazuki and Ida versus Two People in Hate versus Xena and Waka.
it was Momo Watanabe and Kamatani.
Thank you. I the chop exchange between Ida and Xena was loud. It was very loud. Those chops were sounded and looked painful. I will say that.
I want
And
Ida to break out. I really want to break out. Like she needs to get a singles belt or something. I don't want her to become Ishii and never get a title run.
and then Xena, not Xena, Waka did her typical ass attack move. Should have been me. um, Sorry, I got a text message. Hazuki has a really great bro kick. She does Sheamus's finisher, and it's really nice. I really like it. Momo needs to change her finishers. Needs to change them. Like, I hate Momo's finishers so much. I think they're stupid. I don't know how she gets any pin counts off of any of them. I really don't. And then we got EXV versus Stars. Um, yeah, I know Hanan is in this. I know Miss Bear is in it. And yeah, that's all I got. I didn't write down names.
Anan Kaguma, Mayu, and Kogo versus
Kogo.
Hanako, Micah, Mina, and Rian.
Um, dude, Hanan's hip toss just looks brutal. Looks brutal how she does it. It's not like a normal, just like hip toss. It's like a judo hip toss, so it looks very painful when she does
It
it
was a
to people.
judoka.
Let's see. There was a I don't know who did the double team. I didn't write it down, but I wrote down what the double team move was. Uh, One of the teams did a suplex into a backbreaker, and I thought it looked crisp and it looked really good. I really enjoyed that double team move. It looked great. And then yeah, I just wrote Stars win with a splash from the top rope. You're not gonna get. This is when I start like dwindling on any of my notes. Like even with Marigold, like my notes started to dwindle too. Then we have Tamu and Poi versus Suri and Lady C. Poi outsmarted Lady C in a test of strength. Instead of like kicking her in the foot, she just went up to the middle turnbuckle and was just like,
Yes. I'm taller than you now.
I thought that was great. Good comedy. Oh, it's always good comedy from Poi though. Suri's kicks like must leave welts or bruises on people's backs because they sound
Yeah,
and look painful.
I think it's the same as like when you do the slaps across the chest. Like they for sure leave marks. Like the back, you definitely feel those kicks. I think she pulls back like definitely pulls back on it, but definitely still very much connecting on people.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of leg kicks lately because there's a lot of them with bruises on their legs lately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
like
put
an
you do not.
epidemic of leg bruises.
I think either Poi or Tam tried to exchange kicks with Suri, and I wrote down, "You do not exchange kicks with Suri." If you hear yelling in the background, that is because they're watching, like I said, Alabama and Tennessee, and they're loud. They're loud. And
I
then,
mean, Shuri would be a UFC Hall of Famer if they had a division with low enough weight for her.
yeah,
That was her only downfall. There wasn't enough girls her weight.
and then Poi hit the twisted Poi. I mean, what is her sparkling butterfly or whatever her move's called?
I don't know what it's called. It's
I just
Alexa
put down
Bliss's
twisted
thing.
Poi
I
because
refer
it
to
is
it more as the Sparkle Splash when she was the cheerleader. When Alexa Bliss was the cheerleader, they called it that.
because it's not the twisted Bliss, obviously, because she's not Alexa Bliss. But I think this next match is the main event, and it's
Yep.
Kate versus Neo Gen, and I want to say it's Momo.
Nope.
I wrote Momo on here.
It's Tora and Ruaka
Why did I write Momo down? Oh no, I know
versus
why. I know why I wrote it down. I know why now.
because she shows up.
It's because she attacks SLK outside the ring, and Izumi and Kevin are just ignoring it on the sidelines the whole time, like watching it happen, and they're just like, hmm, interesting.
So yes, it's Starlight Kid and Suzu Suzuki. Are in
I
the
wrote down
match.
typical hate start of the match. Uh, go outside, fight, throw them into the chairs. And there was one thing that SLK did that I thought looked painful or would be painful, and it might be because I just have a bad knee. She did a moonsault to the knee, and I was like, ooh, that looks like it hurts. I have that Neo Gen won this match against Hate. I don't know how the finish happened. I didn't write it down. So that is the 10-12 show of Stardom. And
Oh,
then
fun fact: 28.4 years old. This show they knocked off a couple months. This episode by not having somebody that was old, I guess, or having somebody that was very young instead.
yeah, not Tora, but the other girl's very young. I
I
think
mean,
she's like
Lana's in her
21.
first year. Rion's in her first year, but who knows?
All
You
right.
never know with first people who are starting in business in Japan because they could either be still in school or they've graduated college.
You can never tell. You never know. 10-14. We got Suri versus Rion. Um, I feel like I was doing something during most of this match, but it did look like, once again, Suri's kicks to the back just look extremely painful, especially on someone that's a lot younger than her. And it just, I felt bad for Rion. I really did. With like, she got put through the ringer in this match compared to going up against Sari. She had to go up against Siri for this one, and I was like, oh, this poor woman's gonna die. But yeah, Suri got the win with a submission finish. Next match is Koguma versus Ida versus Suzu and May. Mai, sorry. Crazy Star dominated most of that match. I do know that much. I think the first like 7 or 8 minutes of the match, it was just Crazy Star. I
They've been
also
together
wrote,
for a long time, even before they came to Stardom, so they've got
were
the
they in
time
Ice Ribbon
together.
together?
Is that where they were before?
Because I think Suzu was in Ice
Yuzu,
Ribbon.
yeah, was Ice Ribbon following Julia to Stardom.
Yeah.
I don't know about May. I think she was independent before Stardom.
Uh, Ida before the match got her sweater stuck again in the rafters. Typical.
That was funny. It was
Typical
stuck on the
Ida.
lighting. And they did the entire match, and then after the match, they got a little step ladder out and a big pole out, and she
Yeah,
got up there.
Okada was getting brownie points for trying to help them. Make sure, please don't leave me, please.
Well, I mean, those lights get real hot up there, so I mean that is a fire hazard.
Next match is Waka and Hanako. Does Waka and Hanako have a team name? I mean, I know they're in EXV, but do they have like a tag team name? Because they've been tag teaming for a while.
They
Did they like
were
officially name their tag team for the tag team league?
might have. Let me see. Let's check out cage match.
think
Because they were like the team when they made E Nexus V, they were like, "Hey, we should be the tag team that tries to go for the New Blood titles."
Mm-hmm. And they're up against Lady C and Rana. I
so.
didn't.
Hanako and Waka's tag team name is Rice or Bread.
What is it?
Rice or Bread. Rice and Bread. Like it's yeah. I remember something weird like that, and I think that's the name that they had for the tag team tournament when they're
That's
Rice or
hilarious.
bread. Yep, there it is.
I have no notes written down for this match, so I got nothing. I think at this point I was just getting so. I think I was exhausted from all the wrestling that we watched in 3 days.
Well, yeah, we had to catch up, so we had 2 days where we watched two shows back to back.
I'm assuming Waka. Oh, I remember part of this match now. Uh, Lady C needs to get rid of the. Like, I like that she has the choke slam, but I think she needs to. I think personally she should make her finisher move like Test had the big boot for his finisher. I think she should also have
Especially
a
since
big boot.
Hanako's bigger than her now. Like she used to be the tall girl around, but
Yeah.
Hanako's like that much taller than her now.
So I think Lady C needs to move her finisher to the big boot. I remember that. The swing. Didn't they both do a swing? Didn't Hanako and Lady C both do a swing during this match? I know Lady C did one. She got 10 spins
I
off.
mean, yeah, every single match with Lady C has a spin hit pretty much.
Yep, and this is typical Lady C matches. Is spin, attempts to do the choke slam like 10 times, and does a big boot. Also, Lady C's going for the New Blood tag team titles with Rana. Hasn't Lady C been in Stardom for a few years now? Maybe even longer?
She had that like. She's been for 3 years,
Three,
coming the
3.5,
14th of
4 years.
November.
Okay.
Was
How
new
old
was
is
new,
Lady
is New
C?
Blood 5 and under? Is that or
It's 20. What
because I think it's how many years you've been wrestling? I can't remember if it's three,
That would
four, or
make
five.
sense.
I think
It
it's
just,
either or.
There's
I think it's an age or years,
it's something like
whichever.
that where there's
When you
because
pass both, you can't go anymore. I think.
she's definitely competed in New Blood before. I think she was like been involved in like some like the first ones when they introduced it, the first pay-per-views.
yeah. Then you got Micah and Mina versus Yuna and Sakurai. Sakurai. That's how they say it, at least when I listen to them speak. They like say it so fast. But yeah, it's Aya Sakura. I remember they're giving Yuna a push. Like Yuna's getting a lot of offense in lately, and it seems like she's becoming like one of Okada's girls, if that makes sense.
Which is like it makes sense, but it's also like I'm surprised he's kind of building around her with her age. Like you would think that like you would want somebody younger. Like she's good, but like it's kind of late to do a big time push for her because she's kind of been in this comedy mid scene for like what 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah, and she's in her mid 30s too, isn't she?
Yeah, so like I think she's 35 or 36, and that's what I mean. Like she's been involved, kind of similar to like Fukugen Death, where it's like she's like tag team action or comedy roles, but like not like a main champion or going over championships.
Yuna is 35 and has been active for 6.5 years.
It's like he's pushing her. It's like he's giving certain people pushes so they don't leave. Um, Honestly, like I want to talk about Marigold and their shows, but like I feel like at this point we should just honestly just talk about our expectations of free agency next year.
Yeah. Well, if I feel like Marigold is kind of like that weird in between right now, where it's they have a lot of good matches, but they also have some matches where they're just kind of throwing talent together because of dealing with
Either
um
injuries or
like
sickness.
the
It feels like
injuries
it's a lot
and
of
They,
stuff like
sickness
that.
with Marigold.
like I've been saying since day one, they need to like double the size of their roster as
Which
well.
I mean, we can talk about for free agency, but the ice ribbon stuff. I mean, that I
Yeah,
feel like a
that
lot
stuff
of the
that's coming out
names.
about Ice Ribbon, it's a little worrisome.
I feel like that could put a lot of names toward Marigold and like the young division for them. Because quite a few like ice ribbon, like a lot of their champions are like 21, 22. So and like a lot of the roster. So there's issues like that. Then I could definitely see Stardom and Marigold having the rise in like young talent. So
I mean, that's what Ice Ribbon was known as the place to go when with the really young girls.
yeah,
But they're still in school, still teenagers. A
So
lot of them get their start there over the last over a time of that company existing. Yeah.
because like for me, like it would be surprising to see where Curie goes because she's been with Ice Ribbon I think since like the start and like when it first started. Like not near when did it start? No, 2000. And she's been with him for like a decade, I think. Like so, there's some talent from Ice Ribbon that's like been there so long that it's like where do they go? Because like they started when they were like 15, like a decade ago. Now they're like 24, 25. It's like where are they gonna go?
for people that don't know, Ice Ribbon's president hasn't pretty much hasn't been talking to the roster, hasn't been paying the wages, and someone else has stepped in to like pay the wages. So it's not looking good for Ice Ribbon after that came out. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what the rock like that coming out now, especially when we're now just a few months away from potential free agency and people leaving Ice Ribbon or graduating from Ice Ribbon. Like that could lead to more people going to either Stardom or Marigold. I will say this real quick about the Marigold shows that they're putting a significant emphasis in building now up. Uh, she's clearly the underdog in almost every match, but she has the crowd over, and it's clear what they're doing. Because I think once Rossi pulls the trigger on now, I think she's gonna have the rocket strapped to her back. I think she'll go far, and she's improved significantly too as the shows go on. Same with Mila Grace. Mila has really come into her own. All right, let's talk about potential. As much as I would like to talk to Marigold, we're about to be at 40 minutes, and I know Dan's dinner is there. So we're gonna wrap this up by we're talking about who we think is going to be jumping from Stardom to Marigold, or Marigold to Stardom, or who's going to make the jump to the US. So I'm going to start with you, Dan. Who do you think makes the jumps? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I mean, obviously we've already talked about Mina is gotta be definitely
I think
going to
she's
AEW.
AEW bound no matter what.
Yeah, it's just a matter of when. I mean, the big ones that have been talked about since Rossi left is that Mayu is stuck because she had that movie made and it came out at the exact wrong time for her for all this.
hmm Do you think she's still going?
Oh, she's gone. They
So
haven't given anybody the number 18 yet
yeah,
for a reason. For a reason.
I think it clearly. I think her having pictures every time when EO is in Japan, there's usually a picture that pops up with them hanging out, which usually means they're with Rossi, I'm assuming. Um, I think the biggest nail right there that she's going to Marigold, besides the fact that Fuka and Rossi are there, is I think it was a couple months ago, EO, not EO, Mayu and Rossi got dinner and they had pictures, like they took pictures and posted them online. I think that was should have been one of the biggest tellings for everyone that Mayu's gone. Like she's gonna go to Marigold. I would
It's
say
either
it wouldn't be.
Marigold.
Sorry, go what?
It's either Marigold or like if Io, because I mean Io's been spending a lot more time in Japan. Like I do think she's gonna go to Marigold, but she's kind of pushed towards like the U.S. as an option more in the recently than in the past. Like in the past, it was basically Japan or nothing, and now it's kind of like if the money's there, if the contract's there, and it's like good for her eyes, and it's like she can do what she did for Lucha Underground and like push towards U.S. So I feel like it's Marigold or WWE, in which she has some Marigold shows like Julia did.
If that
And
was in Lucha Underground, it was Mayu, Io,
Kyrie.
and Kyrie that were the
And for
three
people
ninjas.
and for people being like, oh, why are you just saying WWE for the US promotion? Because you have to remember this. Mei Yu would get homesick instantly. She's a big person. She said she was always said if she went to the States, she would get homesick. Having her support system, which would be Io, Kyrie, Julia, Asuka at some point, and also the the Gajins that were in Stardom when she was there. Well, also is mostly all of them are in WWE.
Or Chelsea, Piper, everything like that.
Candice, Dakota, like they will all be her support system compared to AEW. How much talent in AEW has ever wrestled Mayu or been in Stardom outside of like a Tony Storm
It's
or
also just like
Jamie
any
Hayter?
name connected to Rossi is not touching AEW after Tony's comments and like everything like that. Because he already tried to steal Mayu in the past when she had the U.S. date for like New York, I believe it was. And then the comments sealed the deal where anybody who's connected to Rossi, like in Marigold right now, is not going to look towards AEW.
Yep. So Tristan, who do you think is going to make the possible jump?
Well, we talk about like I feel like from Stardom to Marigold, it's pretty much like all of Stars. Like once Mayu's gone, it's just going to be the rest of the Stars. The only one that I feel like is probably not going to go from Stardom to Marigold is Hazuki, as I mentioned, because I feel like she might travel to the U.S. And then I don't know. I'm thinking like there might be a young name like Rena, like just a member of Hate, like once like a surprising name that because it just feels like with her because she just lost the I think I'm thinking I get confused between the sisters. Rena who just lost the championship, like
Yeah,
her like first
Rena
year
lost
championship reign
the
or
future
whatever.
title. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, the future. So I feel like it's definitely like to me losing a title that she's had since like over like 500 days. I was like, what else? Like either they push her up in the Stardom scene or like she could look towards Marigold.
Well, she just got the new
And
blood tag titles, which is like whoopee, but like she's been such like I don't know how to
she's still
phrase it.
17 and she's been wrestling for I think like since she was like 11, 12 or something like that. Like she's just like she's like Azumi AZM Azumi where she has like over almost a decade of experience at like 18, 19 years old. Like she's not even like 18 but has like almost a decade experience.
she's
Yeah.
got
So
7 years, and she's gonna turn 18 at the end of December.
That also
yeah,
means
so
her
if it
twin will also be turning 18.
it feels like she could definitely look towards Marigold, build up for another few years, and then when she's like 22, 23, look towards the US because she has a lot of time on her side. And like when she's 23 and has that much experience, she could always look towards the US.
She's also wicked talented too. She's very good.
Yeah, so
Um,
And if Rena leaves, do Hina and Hanan follow?
I think first off, we've already said since we think Mayu's leaving and most likely going to Marigold, there was a rumor going around that almost all of Stars will also be joining Mayu. So I say if Hanan leaves, then her sisters are following her. They're gonna follow her over to Marigold. Um, what were you gonna say? Anyways, I think a surprising name to keep an eye on to go to Marigold, and it's gonna shock some people that watch this. Natsupoi. I think Natsupoi could be Marigold bound.
I
Mainly
feel
be
she's either Marigold or WWE with Kyrie, because that's the thing is like WWE has a lot of like Kyrie, Io, Asuka. Like as we've seen with Asuka, I think that Tomoka Aniba, like she's gonna go to NXT with like a year or two because she's like devoted to Asuka. So it's like
oh yeah,
there's a
she's
lot of
like that's clearly her idol. Like Asuka is clearly her idol.
so
But the
there's a
reason why I
lot of
bring up
sway there.
Natsupoi is also because Saray and her just started a YouTube channel. And my theory, my personal theory, is that Saray is signed to Marigold. And people are like, well, she doesn't have a number. She does. 123. That is her number. And the Wrestle Universe app has her down on the roster. So there's
Well, I
just
mean,
been
would you have your world title and something that technically doesn't work for you?
that's yeah. That's why like I've on like she plays it off that she's not like signed, but I almost feel like it's like she hasn't done anything with New Japan or Stardom since Marigold has started. You
It's
know,
hardly worked anywhere else. Like even places where she's like, I've only heard of a handful of seedling shows, and she's like their world champion
yeah,
Yeah,
as
we've
well.
done like Seedling and I think like one or two Sunday Girl shows for Maiko. Like that's really it for Japan. Like she doesn't.
And then of course she just won the Sukiban
Sukiban,
title.
which hasn't had a VOD up at all from that show. So
Yeah.
So weird.
it
Because yeah,
is,
looking at Saray's like cage match for September, she had her Sarayism, and then she had two seedling shows and like two other indies, and that's it. So she had five indie shows in the whole month of September. So that's why I'm
yeah.
like, that
Like
is
they can
very.
keep saying she can keep saying that she's a freelancer, but you're not fooling us. Like she's not going to lose to Bozilla. She's going to retain. She's not. I don't think I. Even a bigger hot take. This will go on with my Mayu to Marigold theory. She'll beat Utami, and her next challenger will be Mayu, and Mayu will come out that after the show, after that match in January. I know it's pretty quick, but my theory has always been that Mayu's contract's up in January and not March.
I think it's either December 31st or like January 1st, but that's why like the New Year show is like a few days after. As I've said before, like it feels like the contract can expire December 31st. Give like 2 or 3 days for like contracts and stuff. Then she'll be there on January 3rd or 4th. I think is the next the show.
Yep. I am curious to know where if Summer Destiny is going to be at Sumo Hall again, or if it's going to be at Korakuen Hall because they have a show on July 16th in Korakuen Hall, but I wonder if they're going to do the Sumo Hall again for Summer Destiny.
And Sumo Hall's a bigger place, so
And we're speculating Io is going to be on the card again, and potentially Kyrie. So um,
Yeah,
now for talent to potentially be going to AEW, we all believe Chekla's going, Xena's going, we think, and Mina are the most obvious. I think are going to be
yeah.
heading to AEW.
So there's like a few others, but as like it's people that like aren't because if they're Marigold for Rossi, then like they're already not a fan of TK and AEW, and it's like it's its own thing.
Yep.
So because it's like Azumi, um, like she might go there, but she also could go to WWE because of IO. She's kind of a 50-50 coin flip for me because she's done stuff with AEW last year in like American shows, but she's also still very much connected with Io, Kyrie, and like to Joshi and WWE. So it's a coin flip of who offers a better contract and like everything like that.
And I believe SLK will eventually. Starlight Kid will eventually head to WWE. All
Yeah,
right.
because there is some like I think Suri, she wants to go back to the US, like out of Japan. She could be WWE. Because it's just I don't feel like she's really had a like different booking under Okada. Like I feel like she's gonna be leaving for Marigold just because it's like again some of these names were booked better under Rossi, and then like Okada just using her as a what was it like a 2 week tag team? I don't even know how long, but the tag team reign before Momo turned on her and everything like that. Or
You
no,
mean
not or
Konami?
Konami, not
Shuri's
Momo.
like been stagnant for since she lost the belt to Utami, I think.
Well, I mean, her match, like her matches against Mayu in the beginning of the year, is still one of my match of the years. But it's like once Rossi left, it was like her booking just went downhill.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? We're hitting 50 minutes here. We should probably end it. I would like to normally have these be like an hour, but Dan's food, it's dinner time. We wanted to get this out, get this done, because I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation, fam. So I'd like to say thank you for all for joining us. Do you guys got any final words for everyone?
Just invest in Mayu and Utami because Mayu's coming to US next year. Colt is still on that train. Mayu NXT champ 2025.
She's probably one of the few that would be main roster bound, to be honest. Dan,
I
you got
feel
any?
like
Sorry, what?
anybody like could like Mayu definitely has a talent for main roster, but I feel like pretty much all like if you think Io, Kyrie, Asuka, all of them were main roster, like still like it's just transitioning as Julia's mentioned, the transition from Japan to US is like very difficult. So it's things where I think Mayu will come, be a challenger, win the championship, and then go up with like 6 months. But like sometimes, like she's I think better because she's had a lot of U.S. Matches and like shows. But I think it's just still like NXT is like the path for Joshi.
Dan, you got any final words?
Be excellent to each other.
Party on, guys. Have a good weekend, everyone.